For over 50 years, people have come to see the Sharks play. Talent, skill, speed, intelligence, elite-level athleticism. That's not these guys. Biased, one-eyed, opinionated. More often wrong than right. They make up for their complete lack of talent with pure dribble, gibberish, and enthusiasm. This is the ET Stand Podcast.
Welcome to the ET Stand Podcast, the Cronulla Sharks fan podcast. It's celebrating 10 in a row against the Dragons. Latsy, Scott Latino joining me. It was to give you the instant reaction post full time of the Cronulla Sharks. What was it? 30 points to 18 winners over the local rivals, the Dragons. Scott Latino joining me, mate. What is your instant reaction to that? What you just saw?
Oh, mate, a little bit upset with the first half, but we got it together. It must have been a hell of a halftime speech because came in second half, turned it on, full of enthusiasm, and it was good to see us pile on some points and knock those clowns down. Big.
It was nice to see some points, and it's nice to see you joining us. As people are, well, I was also just saying the viewers, lads, I was more referring to them. But
come on, mate.
You. Good to see you joining us as well. So, lads, having enjoyed the match coming home, I do get involved in the comments. We have 2 more episodes of our shows that will have entries into the displayware.com.au prize for the display unit, as Scott Latino has behind him. So the best comment of the evening gets to go in there. Might be not too many comments this week. It's a bit of a lackluster kind of feeling. The Sharkies match tonight. So it was a funny first half. So we'll go through all that and talk all of the major moments and events of that match. We thank our sponsors and partners of this episode, Solve Accounting, who are our debrief partners, the guys there, Bloxy and Phil. Absolute legends as you head into tax time. If you need some accounting help, maybe I need to ask them for some help with my hair. Who knows? It's a bit maybe pulling my hair out. But anyway, let's get into it. Mate, they're not hair plugs. They're like something or other. So what was it? 8.5
vibes there, mate.
Oh, he's such a legend, Bert Newton. 8,500 fans down at Shark Park on a pretty cold night. I didn't take my my emergency jacket at my parents' place either. It was pretty cold down there. Lads, what were your key takeaways from watching on the TV from the commentary?
Look, mate, just that we sort of ground out the 80 minutes in the end. Dragons fell in a heap. We tired them out. Just from my own personal perspective, I thought that first half, Jesse Ramian must have been a crab in another lifetime because he was running sideways a fair bit. After that stint, though, he seemed to straighten up and he came out strong in the second half. But all in all, mate, it was just good to get the win. I thought, the halves weren't too bad. Nico was a little underwhelming, but
Trindle was good in the second half.
Trindle was awesome. I thought Trindle's kicking game was great. Yep.
Trindle was really good in the second half.
A couple of meat pies and.
See, hold on. Let's just rewind back to that first half. Hold on a minute. So you didn't think because my notes I had that Ramian was looking pretty good in the first half.
Mate, I don't know. Just his discipline can catch him at times, and as we saw him go to the bin, that cost us, that hurt us. But I just thought a lot of sideways running there in that first half, but then he was feeding off Nico in that second half, and he was coming on some really nice angles and making some good yards. So at least he turned it around there. But, yeah, mate, it was a bit of a funny feel, as you said, that especially that first half. Like, I thought we started. I thought we were right on top of them. I thought it was a bit soft having Hiroti have that try disallowed. I didn't think there was a great deal in that.
I thought that was fair. In the comments, let us know what you think. Roddy, disallowed try, fair or not?
Ronnie should have just played it a bit more, and like he went hard at him with the shoulder. He didn't really disguise what he was doing.
Him, Lats. Come on.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but mate, eyes up and run into him. That's fine. So I don't know. It didn't help that I had Hiroti in my multi, so I was probably a little biased there.
Yeah, here we are. Pete Bissett in the comments saying it was no try. It wasn't a try. But I did feel a bit bad for Hiroti that one got pulled back. Let's go through Peter Bissett's comment here. Guys, get your comments in. What do you think of that match? What do you think the key moments were? What should we be talking about? Pete Bissett in the comments saying, so grateful we turned it again. Trinder looks as much better going ahead rather than sideways. Brayley, great. AFB, always epic. Katoa was great too. All right, let's just break down this comment, shall we? So grateful we turned it around again. It was looking bad at half time, though. Like, it did need a turnaround. But I just think the forwards were stronger in the second half and getting us further forward. And the defense meant that the kicks that were going to Kennedy, he was just catching it in a whole bunch of areas and play to run into. Just made it a little bit easier. I thought the forwards improved second half, Lats, didn't you?
Yeah, look, mate, I thought the forwards were good. And I think having that forward-heavy bench, dropping Atkinson for Toby, I thought was great. I thought Toby added plenty of intensity. I thought Hamlin-Ueli had a really good game. I thought he was really good. He held on to some really tough catches and made some good yards there. Talakai is always awesome, but he ended up rounding out the rest of the game at centre. Mate, you couldn't fault the forwards. I thought they were really good. I thought Cam had a good crack. I thought Kafusi was good. I didn't think we had any poor forwards on the field tonight at all. But just strange in that first half because we really seemed to be on top of them for that sort of first quarter, and then just fell in a heap and discipline let us down. And losing Ramian just before half time didn't help.
The moment was, Matt. You know when it turned around for the Dragons? Do you remember?
What was that?
When we didn't take the 1.8.
The 1.8. I was hoping I could put a little text box under my name because I was going to say Sharks win 29.8 to 18 because we did take the 2 at one point there.
Well, we did take the
sticks up.
We'd have to taking the 2 at the end certainly did work. But the Sharks, what was it? It was what were we? 12-6 down. 12-6 down, and we didn't take the 2. I think was the score.
Yep. And
then we immediately dropped the ball 2 plays later, and then they let it go, and then Ramian gets sin bin. This is like an absolute disastrous moment for us.
Yeah.
Literally a key turning point.
12-6 down, taking the 2 is a bit of a random one. Like, I can see the merit in it, but I can also, you want to ground that, bring that right back to being
lads,
12.
Don't make me do it again. I'm going to tell you.
It's a random scoreline to take the 2.
It's not a random score. It's a game of accumulating points, and you're a 1 in 6 chance of scoring a try, and you're a 1.8 out of 2, 90% likelihood of getting the 2. It's a better percentage play.
But who's to say we would have kicked it?
We always kick it 1.8 out of 2, 90% of the time. All right, let's go back to Pete Bissett's comment. He said, Trinder looks much better going ahead rather than sideways. This is true.
Yeah.
I thought Trinder's kicking game in the second half was rather good, and his effort play to recover that one that he put up himself was good. I thought I had it in my notes here that if you've got Brayley running earlier, that's normally a pretty good sign. And in that first part of the first half and then later, he did seem to carve him up. And then Lats, AFB, he played a lot of minutes, didn't he?
He did, mate. He did. It surprised me, actually. Every time I looked up, he was on. Mate, we were getting plenty out of him. He was making good ground. Dragons were tiring. They're not the best defensive team, the Dragons. I think they're one of the second worst. But just rounding out Peter's comment and Katoa, mate, Katoa is an absolute star. I would have him in the team over Stone Street any day.
Oh, that's definitely
I just think his experience and his reads, like Stone Street will get there. And so don't come at me too hard 2.0 because I know you will. Because I spoke about your goat. But mate, Katoa makes a huge difference in that team. Huge.
Certainly does.
Reliable.
That's true. Yeah. All right, Rob in the comments saying it was the last 30 minutes. They were certainly better in that last 30 minutes, weren't they, Rob? And JFP agrees with you there, Rob, saying good to see we have better second half resolve this year. We did have better second half resolve, but to be fair to the assessment of the situation, Lats, the Dragons are a rubbish team, aren't they?
Oh, they're crap, mate.
They're rubbish.
They're crap.
All right, Carl Flanagan, goodness me. Because
imposter.
Actually, this is a
imposter.
good
biggest imposter of an NRL player since Michael Leisure.
This is the best comment we might have had so far. Ryan Perrott in the comments says the best kick from Dragons was by Leilua, and that's sad when a fat back rower kicks better than your halfback.
Perrott,
it was a good kick from him, I thought. You're not wrong, Ryan.
He's a mad Dragons fan, mate. He's a mad Dragons fan, Ryan Perrott.
Oh, well.
I told him to jump on.
All right, well, maybe we can kick him out then.
No, he's good. He's one of the good ones. There's only a few of them, but he's one of the good ones.
I was pleased that there weren't as many Dragons fans in the ET stand as we've seen before. There was one guy sitting behind us in row D who at halftime was very vocal. And I just, at full time, I just said to his mates, I said, oh, yeah, your buddy's not talking much now, is he? Always got to love. Always got to feel like that. Mike Knight in the comments saying, Bumble Tea Tuna. G'day, Mike. Good to see you. The Bumble Tea. Yeah, Bumble Tea. That's what I'm going to call it now, that fast
Bumble
half.
Tea in here, mate.
Was it disgusting? I just think the Sharks don't deal with adversity. Oh, no, actually.
Look.
What do you make of the defence in the first half, lads?
Very sloppy, mate. They were soft tries. The DeBellin try, the Cook try, just
the beach sprinter,
half-assed efforts. You've got King Tongia's try, just poor efforts, mate. Poor efforts, and not moving up in the defensive line, just letting them come to you and go around you, and sloppy. I thought Will Kennedy was a bit average at the back there in that first half.
Another drop
in his defensive read, the drop, not to mention. But just in some of his reads at the back there in defence, he just wasn't around. Mate, just going back to the crowd, 8,000, that's poor for a derby. Why do we always have these games down there on a Thursday night? Why do they always have to be Thursday night, a school night?
Because it's a high TV rating game, and for Thursday night, it attracts viewers that are not necessarily Dragons or Sharks fans. So it's
annoying. It's annoying because it's a lot of lost revenue for the club. Like we had 13,500 for a game, 15,000 last week.
5,000 extra tickets. What is a GA ticket? $40? I don't even know how much a GA ticket is. It's about $40.
Yeah, it'd be about that.
So how much is that, lads?
Not to mention your amenities.
$20,000.
There you go.
It's not that much.
It's going to paper bag to someone.
Yeah. All right, Kevin. It's a paper bag for someone. All right, Kevin Rapati in the comments. G'day, Kevin. I know you're a Waz Up fan, Kevin, aren't you? We love you, Kevin. You legend, mate. I think you're wrong, Kevin. That was not 9th versus 15th. It was 13th versus the Bears. It was not a great match to watch. I don't think it didn't feel. I think, Kevin, what I'll say on that is. I think, Lats, you'll agree with me on this. I think it also showed the gulf between where the Dragons are to where the Sharks are, and then where the top teams like the Warriors. So I'm trying to do this on the screen, where the Warriors are. I just think the Dragons are just miles off where the Warriors would be, aren't they?
Oh yeah, mate, 100%. But saying that, they beat Melbourne a few weeks back in a good game. Like they just can't string it together. With any continuity and I don't know, just up and down footy and just I don't know. Look, they need some big forwards. The Dragons, they're lacking in their forwards. When DeBellin's your best forward, you're in trouble. I know they had the Couchman ACL issue and all that sort of thing, but missing Val, I don't know how much of a difference Val would have made tonight, but they missed him.
Good player, Val. Craig Gearin in the comments was saying we were lucky to get away with that one. I'll tell you. So I met Craig Gearin tonight. G'day, Craig. It's good to see you at down at Shark Park. And so then Craig came and sat with us. And so when you're like 99.5% sure what someone's name is, because 3 people came up and introduced themselves to me tonight, Craig. And I was like, yeah, I'm like, no, I'm almost like 99.5% sure this is Craig Gearin, right? And I'm like, Franko, this is Craig Gearin. And Franko just wouldn't introduce himself. So then Craig's just sitting next to Franko, or like sitting with us. And Franko's like, who the hell's this guy? And I'm like, I'm only 99.5% sure that it's Craig Gearin. So anyway, Craig Gearin, I did know it was you. And I know that I should have introduced you to Franko. But I also felt Franko should have introduced himself. So it was good to see you, Craig. And your commentary at halftime probably cheered up a rather sad Franko and me.
Well, Boldo,
down there.
I was 99.5% sure you were David Bolderman, and it turns out you're David Bolderman with an R. So,
yeah, I'm not Bolder, man.
Got to be careful.
You do have to certainly be careful.
How
So
did
it's good to see you, Craig.
How did the trivia go last night?
So I can announce now that on Tuesday night, we are going to have the ultimate trivia challenge. It is going to be Scott Latino, Chris Kelly, and Stephen Franklin, and you, the audience, answering a bunch of questions versus just Matthew Williams. So it's going to be all of you guys together versus Matthew Williams. I don't know how we're going to quite do it yet, but it was good fun down there at the trivia, down there at Sharks. We're happening again in a couple of weeks, so do get involved in that one. Ryan Parrott in the comments saying, "Did Flano have you guys practicing how to have handling errors and give away penalties when he was with you guys?" Ryan, our handling errors were better under Flanagan. I think we just had better players. They certainly used to practice the try scoring stuff a little more, didn't they? I can just see. Let's answer this one for me. How do you think the Dragons fans are going to start responding to Flanagan now if they don't start getting results given his Sharks getting?
Well, if he doesn't drop his son and he keeps putting his son in when he's got better options there, and he's not good enough. He's not good enough. He's never going to win the comp with his son at halfback or in the team. And if he doesn't they will turn on him if he does not start making that hard call and dropping him, or holding the players to account.
Finding someone else.
Son. Yeah.
I thought the centre, who's the number 3 for the Dragons? I thought he was good.
See that young Sakuni?
No, he's the guy who led them out, oddly enough. Who was number 3 for the Dragons, gang? He led them out tonight.
Hang on, I've got it here.
Yeah, it was number 3. He led them out, which I thought was odd. Can we just say Sharks win a milestone?
Moses Sully.
Yeah, Moses Sully. That's his name. You know, I can never remember the names of the other players. I don't really care about the other teams. I just can't stand the other teams. I thought he was difficult to deal with. I thought he was pretty good. But yeah, the Sharks win a game on the milestone.
We won a milestone. How about that?
We did win a milestone, indeed. All right, Kevin Rapati in the comments saying Katoa is better than Stone Street. I think that's definitely right. Let's give us a response to that one. Stone Street not coming back into this team anytime soon, is he?
Not with Katoa available, no.
No, definitely not. Richard White in the comments. Toby on the bench instead of Atkinson made a big difference. Lats. Now, the ET stand actually broke a bit of Sharks news. I'm pretty sure we were out first saying that Atkinson was not being played. Lats, when you saw that on the socials, what was your reaction?
Yeah, mate, I'm like, told you so. We told you so. We knew it was coming. We knew Fitzy would have to cave to the pressure soon enough. It's just awesome to have that impact. And Toby was running hard. He missed his footy, you can tell, and it's good to have him back in the team. The bench made sense all night. We weren't confused by any of the calls to put him out there or why is Atkinson out there? Where's he playing? It just made sense.
What did you make of them playing for Noah Blake for longer?
I think he lost his impact a bit there towards the end, towards the end of the second half. But look, mate, if he's happy to be out there, he's still running hard, looking for offloads, and I like it. It works
clearly
well.
Our best forward.
He's a leader. And with all these forwards we've got coming back, like Calhoun, I thought Calhoun's been good. Toby was strong tonight, and yeah, mate, it's good. I think Ueli's raising the bar a bit these last couple of weeks and starting to, find a bit of form.
They just look better with one extra
consistency.
Forward. Get it in the comments. Can you just give us the number? How many minutes should Fanua Blake play per match? Just get it in the comments. I think him playing more minutes, given he's just so much better than all the other guys. Yeah, I don't mind him playing
195 run meters tonight. 61 post-contact meters, 17 runs. Yeah, mate,
pretty good for him.
Good numbers, playing 67 minutes.
67 minutes is a lot.
Yeah.
And even when so we were watching him on the bench. I'll talk about another funny moment on the bench in a second. Seeing him on the bench, so he came off at the 67th minute, and by the 70th minute, he wanted to go back on. He was just like pacing up and down, like,
chomping at the bit.
Chomping at the bit. And so, I just think he's so much better than the other guy. And then there was a brilliant moment. You can imagine this happening, lads. So we're sitting there at the ET stand. So for those that don't know, we're we're 4 rows behind the Sharks bench in the ET stand. So I might
Dave
be well
Fafita
known.
can attest to that.
And so can Sam Tagatese. And so Sifa Talakai and Braden Hamlin Ueli are riding the bikes in front of us, right?
Yep.
Riding the bikes. And Ueli's going really fast and Talakai's going really slowly. So I just I'm like, slow down, Ueli, slow down. And then I'm like, Talakai, you don't need to go fast. It's quantity over quality. And he's calling out. I'm calling out to Talakai, take a sip of water so you can go faster. So I'm trying to get Talakai to take a sip of water. And he just goes, so funny. I couldn't get him to take a sip of water. But anyway, I think you're right, Richard White. Toby on the bench instead of Atkinson certainly made a big difference. That was a big positive. And Ryan, you are also right in the comments saying great recovery by the Sharks on the second half.
Yeah.
Kickoff. Speaking of kickoffs.
Kick recoveries, Sione could tell it for that final try.
Oh, that was
How
pretty
did he
good.
come up with that? Let alone get up off the turf and run 60 metres to score, next to the post. That was unbelievable.
Now, can you confirm that only went 10 metres off where they got penalised? The Dragons?
Yeah, it definitely went 10. it broke the plane of 10. Definitely. Yeah, I thought they were hard done by there, but they burnt their challenge on a silly one. They had a Sharks challenge, and they burnt it.
They did have a Sharks challenge, didn't they? They had a Sharks challenge. That's what you get. All right. Rob in the comments. I think Rob's a new viewer. I don't know, Rob. Rob's saying, yes, the Dragons are shite, but it's a local derby that anyone can win, as you will know, with Forest versus Notts County. We obviously know that I know Rob. And the form goes out the window with the local derbies. So they were up for it certainly at the start, weren't they?
Yeah.
The Dragons.
I was getting a little concerned at halftime, mate. But it was good halftime speech. What I'm more happy about is just our defense in that second half, not letting anything in. Yeah,
fair enough. Now we are going to have the great Stephen Franklin join us very, very soon. Let's just go through the rest of these comments. Pete Bissett says, don't trust Kennedy under the high ball at all. Was there one drop tonight from Kennedy?
Yeah, just one, mate. But it was he didn't really have any heat coming down on him. He had someone was about 8 meters.
That's right. He did that.
He was going to take it. The little
he did that jump where he didn't
came
need
off
to jump,
his knee, sort of thing. Yep. They jump. They jump when there's players coming at them, so they can get the tackled in the air call. It sort of protects them a little more. But it's a bit out of character for him because he's usually pretty good under those high balls.
That's true. Ryan Parrott in the comments.
Let it bounce.
He confirming that the short kickoff was a tough call. We are going to answer that question about Talakai in the centres in a bit. I reckon we're ready to bring Franko in. What do you reckon, Lats?
Is he going to introduce himself?
Yeah, let's see if he's going to introduce himself. Here he is. Let's go. Here he is. Hello, Stephen.
Franko.
How lads? How are we all?
Mate, welcome to the debrief.
Very good.
What'd you make of that match, mate?
I heard you talking about your the Dragons, if they kicked the 10 or not at the end there. Looks like Paul here says they were penalised for being in front of the kicker. That may or may not have been the case. I didn't quite see that. But they also jumped from within their side of the 10 to bat the ball back, and I think they need to be on. They need to have crossed the 10-meter line to then jump and knock the ball back. They can't jump from inside their own 10 to knock back. So there was a few things there that went wrong in terms of that one. But yeah,
I thought they were outside the 10 for that one. Happy with the win, Franko?
Happy with the win. Not happy with the team. I think if that was stronger opposition, we're not coming back into that one. No. Too many errors, too disjointed, but happy with the win. Well done, lads. There was a few guys that stood up there and tried really hard. Obviously Katoa was epic. Rudolph was hungry. He was really excited to be back on the park. I think we sort of saw saw a few guys there that were stinging from the last couple of rounds and really wanted to make an effort. And Talakai there coming in for the injured Hiroti. I think he had a brilliant showing. He was just hitting hard, sticking, trampling, all the good things that we know Talakai for, and love to see that. I think it.
Can we dig deeper on that, Franko? Can you answer this one on Talakai? BMAC in the comments saying Hiroti look busted. Talakai to centre next week or a debutant. We just got to get more out of Talakai, don't we? Let's dig deep on that.
BMAC, on our Tuesday night show, I was asked if I was happy with the team and what would I have done. I said straight up, Talakai to the centres instead of Hiroti, for that very reason that Hiroti was hobbling around on one leg last week. It didn't make sense to list him in the starting side. So yeah, I'd have Talakai there in the centres. We do have a couple of people that might be ripe for a debut, but we are a bit thin out wide. Be probably Vela, maybe a Gabriel. Gabriel himself, I think, is sort of just back from his own injury, so it might be a big ask. Vale is probably the next cab off the rank in that regards. If it was a winger, maybe Dixon. His hands are a little bit iffy, but still pretty good player, strong carries out of our own end. But yeah, I'd put Talakai there in a heartbeat. The only thing that I thought was interesting was we really didn't seem to go left at all. That old combination of Talakai and Ronaldo didn't get much ball, didn't get any backline movements heading their way. If they did get the ball, it was always a disjointed offload or a one-out carry from our own end in good field position. And we didn't really get to see them link up old school style with some backline plays, which is really upsetting. I'd like to see a bit more of that for sure.
Justin in the comments saying Sipa played great at centre. It was great to have Ronnie back too. Lats, I'll throw this one at you from Rob. Is there room for Katoa and Stone Street? What about Ronnie in the centres? And with Katoa and Stoney as the wingers? Would that work?
I don't think so, mate. I don't think so. I'm happy with Ronnie on the wing. I'd rather bring up someone like Chris Faia. I don't know how long Hiroti's going to be out for, but we know Kale's going to be out for, upwards of 6 to 12 weeks. No, I don't like the idea of Ronnie in its centre, mate. I'd prefer to have a specialised centre there and keep Stone Street out of the team with Katoa and Ronnie on the wings.
Ronnie does like coming in to play centre at times, though. It's not that unusual for him to do that.
No, but I
Ronnie's
just like
good as a winger.
I like having a tall leaper on the left there. We didn't really, as Franko said, we didn't utilise that tonight. I don't even think we kicked to his wing once. It was more sort of next to the posts from Trindle. Yeah, no, mate, I'm happy with Ronnie.
I reckon that's because Trindle wasn't good enough to kick it far enough to Ronnie, and he was trying to, but couldn't. I'm not sure.
There were a few kicks to Ronnie, but not really contestable anyway.
Trindle actually took on a lot of the kicking responsibility.
He did, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah.
Nico was getting caught on the fifth a lot, or on the fourth.
Not as much as Carl Flanagan.
No.
Franko, give us a response to this one. Oh, have you got a comment for us, Franko?
Just like Trindle double the amount of kicks. The Nico nearly 500 meters versus Nico's 200 meters. It was good to see us actually getting a little bit of kick pressure. There were a few wayward kicks there, but we still seemed to have built up a little bit of pressure, which was nice to see. Yep. And I guess on the fact that Trindle was doing a bit more of the bulk of kicking here, Nico was certainly upping his running game. Whether it was for the better or not is debatable. There were a few errant runs where we kind of got caught in no man's land, but still it sort of seemed as though it was a clear directive where Nico wanted to run more, and it was quite obvious that that's what he was doing.
Give us a response to this one from Paul here, Franko. The game changed when Kafusi came off. We can't afford to carry him anymore. Kafusi, look, if Hamlin, Ueli and Rudolph, I think, are playing well, and you've got Talakai and Colhoun, maybe Kaufusi is a little bit off form. Franko?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. It was Paul, was it, that said that?
It was our old friend Paul. We love you, Paul.
Love you, Paul. Yeah, look, this was one of those scenarios where I guess carrying the 4 big boppers on the bench, it does show there's a little bit less of a dip when the bench starts getting utilized, and so it does expose the
Ding,
starting
ding.
props a little bit more. That said, Kaufusi's second stint was a lot better than his first. When he came back, he was running with a bit more venom. But yeah, Rudolph was super keen to get back. Ueli, he's starting to warm up and getting better and better each week. So yeah, the guys and Colquhoun, he's just all effort. So I think it's one of those things, as I said, the bringing off, all these big men off the bench, you don't go back as much. So, instead of bringing Atkinson on, and again, this isn't a bashing effort for Atkinson. He certainly, he's there to do whatever it is that he does. He's not playing badly. It's just not the role that we need right now. But when he comes on, we don't get that same impact that we do, say, from Rudolph, the coming off the back fence. So, yeah, I don't want to single out Kaufusi that much. I think that the whole team was a little bit scrappy in that first half. But yeah, his second stint was a lot better. But we certainly noticed the impact from Rudolph and Ueli, and not to mention Talakai coming on. We didn't make an interchange till, what was it, 10 minutes left in the first half. It was too long. Kaufusi needed to come off earlier. He was buggered. Obviously, I think a try went through him as well. So I would have taken him off a bit earlier to give him a bit more of a breather. And I think maybe the bench rotation is to blame there more than, say, Kaufusi's effort.
Lats, it's a little bit late for you, mate. So do you want to head off to go to sleep? And Franko and I will keep going. And we'll happy to keep going.
I'm happy to stick
around. It's up to you, mate. You're the one who has to wake up. What time do you have to wake up tomorrow morning?
4 o'clock, mate. That's all right. It's a late start for me tomorrow. 4 o'clock.
Luxury. Yeah.
Oh, mate, I've got to sleep in. It's beautiful.
Oh, yeah,
I'm off Saturday, mate. I'll make up for it then.
All right, fair enough. Dante says up the wires. Good to see we still got some wires. Legends. Ryan Parrott confirms in the comments for us that the Dragons fans have already turned on Flano. Kyle even more so. He's pretty good. 2.0. We will get the link in for you in a second. 2.0. We'll bench you in for Lats when we're going to let him go. 2.0. Kevin Rapati says AFB playing for 80 minutes.
Far off.
And
if we don't need to, then let's not burn him out. We've got a long
I don't think
season.
80 minutes is right, but certainly 65 or 60 is doable.
Well, I think what we need to say here is, let's not have it predetermined. Obviously, the coaching staff understand the player limits through all the GPS and training and conditioning, but let's not predetermine it. Let's not say, okay, 20 minutes before halftime is when we make an interchange, or 10 minutes after halftime is the next interchange. Let's just keep an eye on
fire tonight, Franko. Every comment you're coming up with in commentary and insight, you're just zingers.
Just let's see how the game's going, and
you're right.
Read the plays.
Play it like that. If Kaufusi
true.
or if AFB needs to go 80, he goes 80. But if we're on top of them, let's take him off and let him have a bit of a breather, and then come on steaming,
and then bring him on at the end.
Yeah,
that's true. I think it also made sense to leave him on for the 60 at that time, because Fitzy could feel that after halftime we were coming for him. We got, 3 tries in 17 minutes. So he kept his top guy on and just pushed him to the absolute limit and then put him away. Kevin Rapati saying put Talakai left center or play him for 40 to 60 minutes. That is definitely true. Adelmo's here. G'day, Adelmo. Saying good to see AFB with a smile in the dressing sheds. If we'd lost tonight, I was afraid he'd be getting cold feet and wish he'd signed with the Saints instead. Lats, did you see that fake AFB post about him wanting to leave the Sharks on compassionate grounds?
Yeah,
that bugged me.
That was just a funny little post from obviously a Waz
Someone.
fan or someone just trying to stick it up us. That's all right. We all know he does get cold feet at clubs, so.
Well, that's true.
Not out there
2.0
round
in the
the
comments saying he was
possibility.
depressed at halftime. Thought he was going to have an aneurysm. It was pretty depressing at halftime.
I think he's talking about me talking about Stone Street.
Well, what did you say?
That he shouldn't be in the team if Katoa's fit.
Oh, yeah. It's probably fair. Rob Valensky, Goat Street. Goat Shark is Rob Valensky. Great defense. How good did we look when it was Toby Talakai, AFB off the kickoff halfway after 3 tackles each time? Very good.
Steamrolling.
Very good. Toby Talakai. They have got it. If they're in form, those three are our best middle three, really, aren't they? They're pretty difficult to deal with. Franko?
Yeah, I mean, after one of our tries, we basically ran 90 meters up the field, and you don't do that often, but that's just showing how much intent the guys had tonight. They were steamrolling. They were full of energy. They were, really breaking tackles and pushing through, getting their post-contact meters. No backward steps. It was really good to see, especially that second half. And that's the kind of thing that we want to see more of, obviously. But playing devil's advocate, is that because we had the 4 guys on the bench that were able to have that kind of impact? Maybe.
Adelmo in the comments is also now coming out saying our form drop in the last few weeks coincides with that of Kennedy's form slump. Is that?
It's around about the same.
Is that
same
line up,
games.
Franko, or is that just coincidence?
Is it? Yeah. I don't know about that. It's you don't lose a game from fullback. It certainly doesn't help drop catches and whatnot, but it's certainly been a team slump, I would say.
Yeah, the whole team's been off the last few weeks.
Oh, it doesn't help if you're dropping a kick
bounce.
return, 1 or 2 of them, and letting them bounce and letting them try in. Certainly doesn't help. And he has been our best guy all season, so that does add up. Here he is, Craig Gearin in the comments saying, yes, I can confirm that the guys sit in the ET stand. That is true. He was asking, he was like, are you really sitting here? I'm like, yeah, look, there's Matty Williams, there's Frank. Oh, okay. Yep. That's true. Kevin wants to know where Franko's potato and gravy is. And then asks, Franko facts.
Look at his beard.
Happy with the win, but if I was the Dogs, Raiders, Wars, Storm, or any top 8 team, it's a tough ask. That's very true. Rob Valensky has a left field take on centre for next week. All right, Rob, are you going to put that in the comments, or are you just going to clickbait us or like tease us?
Well, he's in the green room, mate. So he's in the green room waiting to come in.
No, that's 2.0.
There's also a Rob V sitting there.
Oh, Rob's in there as well. Oh, yeah, I'm on a small screen.
Kiwi internet, mate, again.
I'm on the Kiwi internet. All right, sweet. All right, yeah, here he is. All right, well, I'm going to have to work out how to get 4 people on the screen here because I haven't got the damn thing. Hold on. Let's just, I don't know, talk amongst yourselves.
I can go and have a hot shower and let you guys have at it.
All right, let's bring in Rob and see what he says about this take. Here, hold on. Where are you, Rob? Geez, this is just going so well, this show, isn't it? All right, Rob, you're here, but I've got to edit the screen. So I'll do.
No worries. Hopefully,
how are you, mate? Were you at the game?
I was at the game. I've zipped back thanks to the West Connects. Made it back to the West.
How good. All right, here we go. Ready? Oh no, here we go.
This is awesome listening for the audio only group.
So good. Oh well, there we go. Save. I'm going to call this one 4 heads update layout on the fly.
Oh, boom, look at that.
Here he is. Look at that. Rob Valensky joining the ET Stand podcast. We're also ready for 2.0 in a minute too. All right, Rob, what's your take on the centers? You've teased us with you think you've got the answer for the Sharks. What are we doing?
There's a certain player who drifts out to the centers.
I think we've lost Rob.
I know.
Lost Rob.
It is a clickbait.
It is clickbait. We just lost you for a second, Rob. You literally gave us the answer.
Oh,
Who's
what
the
is
player?
going on? Hang on. How about
No,
now?
we got you.
How about now?
Oh,
Yeah,
we
we've got
got
you. We've got you now.
We got you. What's the answer, Rob?
We've lost him again.
All right. Well,
I said the answer is Nickera.
Oh, the answer is Nickera.
Nickera. Ah.
Yes.
So, and what do we?
And who do you
what-
put in
Jesse
the back
goes
row
to-
then?
So Nickera goes there, and Talakai back into second row, so he can play the whole game. He's in our top 3 players every week. He needs more time on the field. Nickera is faster than Talakai. Can play those balls. Can kick, as we've discovered in the last couple of weeks.
Defensively.
we lost him again.
He's certainly faster than Rob's internet. That's for sure.
What about Billy Burns at centre?
Well, the thing is that when we can also play, because Jesse Colquhoun can play a bit of second row as a wide running player too. So therefore,
I
Talakai
actually
can
think
play.
Colquhoun's better in the back row, but
Look,
I think.
Oh, Rob, you're killing us here.
That's a good take, Rob.
Oh, Rob, your takes are so good. All right, Rob, we'll go restart your computer and then come back in.
Faster.
And pedal faster, and then come back in here and give us your take. All right.
Okay, bye.
All right. Thanks, legend.
Take it
All
away.
right, let's. Rob has just been booted out, and we'll get 2.0 in here. All right, 2.0. Can you actually have internet that's fast enough here, buddy?
We'll give it a shot.
All right. What's your take? Who should play? Who should play centre, mate?
Well, Ronnie did play centres in the juniors. I don't like Lats' take on Stone Street at all. We'll have a chat about that
You wouldn't.
time, Latsy.
I knew you wouldn't. I was
But,
hoping your internet would be broken too.
Oh, it's definitely not broken, Max, but it's broken my heart. I'll tell you that much. I don't honestly, if Chris Whaler's free or Talakai, if it's going to be a couple of weeks for Hiroti, then just put Talakai out there for now. I think the problem is he's put Hiroti in because you know you can't get 80 minutes out of Talakai. That's the only thing I can think of because I saw Hiroti limping as he walked off the field in the warm-up. So
yeah,
there's a couple of options, but I don't know. I don't know how far Stoney's away. I think he's still a couple of weeks away. But we've got to find someone that can do a job for a couple of weeks at least until Hiroti's fit. Because I think, he definitely got rushed back. But Ronnie could play there. He likes to play in the centre sometimes, but I'd still pick Talakai because Talakai's been there and done it.
I just
Combinations
think Talakai,
there.
You've just got to try and get him fitted, don't you?
Yeah, because he's bulked up to play that impact off the bench, you can't really get him fit in 2 weeks to play centres. It's more of an off-season program that he has to go through. But you put him there and you see what he does. But the problem is we've got Melbourne and Brisbane the next 2 weeks. You've got Contoni Staggs running at him. And then you've got, who's the centre for Melbourne? I don't know, but Nick Meaney or someone that's pretty fit. So we'd hope that Hiroti can play at least one of those games. And then we've got to buy after that.
Hiroti's done, mate.
Yeah, I think so. But
he's
You
done
need
to
to
at least
give him
after the
enough
bye
time.
round.
Like,
He needs time to recover.
then
Like
give
Ryan
Vale a
Perrott
crack.
in the comments come through here and just said, how many players have come back from injury too early this year only to get injured again immediately? You just can't carry these injured guys. I think either it's Talakai in the centres. It just is, isn't it?
It's got to be
Franko?
at least until after the bye. Yeah.
Definitely got to be that.
Talakai was fine for the 40 minutes of the second half that he was on. You've got to imagine he'd be able to survive the first 40, recover through the break, and then have a fair whack for the second half. Might not go 100 miles an hour for the full 80, but dipping in and out, I think he'll be good enough for a couple of rounds before someone comes back to replace him.
All right. 2.0. Any other key moments you'd like to cover off from the match? Who are your star standouts tonight?
Yeah, I almost had a stroke when Kennedy dropped that bomb that he had no idea how to jump for. Other than that, I think he was pretty solid. He's kind of like the rest of the team. When the rest of the team plays well, he plays well. And I think Kyle Flanagan's kicking game in the second half was absolutely diabolical. There's no pressure on him whatsoever. Standouts was Brayley's running early and often. That was great. I think he really did spark us in that first half. Then we went to sleep again. We play that against Brisbane and Melbourne. I'm heading down to Melbourne in 2 weeks for the game, so I'm a little bit concerned by it. Who else we got? Fanua Blake again, big, but are we just flat track bullies? Is that what we are? Because as soon as it starts clicking against those teams outside the top 8, it's easy. It seems easy once it gets clicking, but we can't get it against the good teams consistently.
I just think there's a big gulf between where the Dragons are and where the Warriors are, and we look comfortable against the Dragons, and against the Warriors we're struggling.
Yeah, I mean, we were struggling that first half, weren't we? Like, that was diabolical after we scored that try.
It was just lazy defense with when the other team seemed to get an offload, we just don't seem to cover that, in and behind where the play of the ball would have been. And they just carve us up and go straight through us. And letting Jack DeBellin score, of all people. Goodness me.
Oh, that hurt. Didn't somebody call that on the Tuesday night show because someone had a crack at him? That DeBellin will score now? I think someone had a crack at him and someone said, watch DeBellin score now. And he did.
Scored against the
so,
what can you say? All right. 3-2-1s, Williams.
1, Toby for getting Atkinson off the bench. I thought that was fantastic. I did say a couple of times loudly about Atkinson. I've had to be quiet because he was sitting right in front of me. I didn't want to hurt his feelings. 2, I'll give it to AFB for the amount of work he put in, especially that second half. I thought he was fantastic. A lot of meters in that second half. And 3, I love you, Stoney, but I've got to give it to Sione Katoa. I think his hit and spins, and I don't know how many tackle busts he had tonight, and how the hell he even grabbed that ball around 60 meters to score. I've got no words for that. He looked a lot better than he did last week. I thought last week he was struggling and he was limping a bit. But tonight looked like the Sione of old, where he was busting tackles, getting through the defensive line, and bagged a couple of meat pies. So good to have him back fully fit. But we'll find it. I'll have to talk to Fitzy about finding room for Stone Street. And even if it's a 14th man on the 14, I don't mind.
Rather than Atkinson.
7-minute cameo.
Let's just chat about that for a second. Stone Street or Atkinson as a 14th man, who would be better? I think Stone Street would be better, wouldn't he?
Stoney's an out-and-out winger. I'd still like to have him a crack at fullback. He can catch it. He's got the height. He's got the pace. We're still missing pace. Although I did mention to Boldo.
Is he skillful enough though?
Oh yeah. With speed, you don't need to be that skillful. He's
grown with confidence.
Go straight through the hole.
He's grown with confidence through the year too, and he's backing himself. And
the thing about him, he missed a couple of tries because Ramian didn't pass him the ball. Out at fullback, you're going to get out the sweeping plays. You're going to have that time because Nico or Trindle's going to get you that ball, and then he's going to have the pace to get on the outside or the inside shoulder or whoever. Now, do I think it's going to happen? No, it's taken him 3 or 4 months to get Atkinson off the bench or without injuries. I don't think it's going to happen. But there's a reason that Kennedy hasn't been re-signed yet. I don't know. And you can say salary cap, but we've re-signed the people we needed to re-sign. Now it's between him and Stoney to get, hopefully re-sign both of them because we need depth. But we all know
what we've got left in the salary cap's not going to change between now and next year.
Yeah, but
the salary cap often goes up.
They might tap someone on the shoulder.
A couple of players. Yeah, I can see how
we know Franko thinks they're going to tap on the shoulder. Maybe perhaps should. All right, 2.0. Well, thanks for coming in, mate. You're an absolute legend. It was fun sitting behind you. You're in good form in the ET stand tonight. So good to see you as always. And if we don't see you before the Melbourne trip, definitely dial in from down there or send us a photo for the Instagram post with all of the,
I don't know how
the Melbourne Supporters Club. The Melbourne Supporters Club of the Sharks are all legends, 2.0. So you'll have a good fun. What's that bar that they go to? The Pink Lemonade or the Pink?
Yeah, that's where we're going. That's where we're going for pre-drinks.
Yeah, that'll be good fun down there. So, Sharks fans, if you're going down to Melbourne, the Pink Lemonade, it's just a little bit up the road on that main street from the what's the Melbourne Stadium called?
Amy Park.
Amy Park, something like that. All right, legend. All right, we'll let you go, 2.0.
Thank you, boys.
The Blue Oyster, I was going to say that.
10 in a row.
10 in a row.
Come through with a comment.
All right, that's 2.0. The Blue Oyster Bar. All right, now rejoining us. Let's just we haven't had this guy on the podcast for a little while, actually. So let's get him in for his instant reaction. We have Brother Williams. Here he is.
Hello. Sorry, I've
How are you,
been
mate?
losing my voice. Losing my voice after it. Too much yelling.
You're pretty pumped up in the ET stand. What'd you make of that match, mate?
Oh, first 40 minutes, dreadful. Second 40 minutes, how we should play every week.
Yeah, but did we play well, or the Dragons just not any good?
Second half, I think we played, I suppose, passable, considering we didn't drop the ball as much as we normally do. But yeah, Dragons are just shocking with, I suppose, the Flano squared at the moment.
Well, that's true. All right, let's get you to answer some of these questions here, Brother Williams. How do you feel about Atkinson going to the Dragons next year, mate?
They can take him.
Go now.
He can go.
He's not that bad, guys. Why are the Sharks fans turn on Atkinson? He's just not good in the position he's in, isn't he, Franko?
Yeah, it's certainly unjust. It's not his fault that he's been picked to play 14 in a role that, you know what, it's not even a bad thing. It's just that we're so much better when we've got 4 forwards on the bench. We've said it before. It's a byproduct of having success with the 4 forwards. His role as 14, unless there was that injury concern that we weren't quite aware of, it just didn't make sense, because we're a team that have enough utility inherently to be able to cover a lot of injury positions without needing a 14. He's best to get his fitness in New South Wales Cup, and then if Trindle or Hines are out injured, or Brayley, bring him in for name him in the starting squad, and away we go from there. But as a 14 utility, it's just not working for us.
All right, let's have a look at Mike Knight comment. Stat: I believe the Sharks have won every game this year when they have scored first in the second half. Brother Williams, Blake, you're a firm believer in try moment principles and whatnot. You think that might be a new stat for us, the Sharks winning when they score first in the second half?
Honestly, probably, because it gets our momentum going. If you look at us, last week when we versed the Warriors, they scored first, and then we just went, well, that's it. Game's done.
Lats?
So I'd like to go back to, I suppose, the Storm game, because did we score first in the Storm game at the second half? That's what I want to know.
I can't remember. I think they scored because they started coming back.
Yeah.
I'm sure that principle works 75% of the time, Mike. All right, let's go through this one. Blake, you were at the game. What did you make of the Britton Nickera celebrations for his 150th game before we talk about Brayley playing well tonight?
Why did we get rid of the banners? Every club's done it. Like the whole
running through the banners.
Yes. Every club's done it. They've got rid of it. The only club that probably keeps it now is the Storm, because they are in, I suppose, heartland of the AFL. But every club now with a milestone, it's just like, oh yeah, here you go. Have a round of applause from half the crowd, because the other half of the crowd's either in the beer line or just too busy not paying attention when the game's starting up.
Man, I'm just looking at the lighting that you've got going. Are you having a disco back there or something? What are you doing?
it's the TV in the background. Hang on.
You're watching the cricket?
No. Oh shit! No, I forgot. Sorry, forgot that.
Hey, you're not allowed to swear on this podcast. I would never swear.
Look at this. Scott coming in. Pat Cummins, you legend. Yes.
Well, has he got a wicket or something? Has he?
Got a double wicket.
Is this like some international test thing or something? All right, Brother Williams, give us your 3-2-1s.
3-2-1s. Ooh, that's a tough. 2 would have to, go to Katoa for those amazing double tries that he scored. 1, I'd probably go with the same as the other Williams, that to Rudolph, because we got rid of the bench warmer.
Just basically all he's done, Rudolph, is just booted out a player that no one likes playing, and then he gets the points. It's remarkable.
And then number 3 would have to go with my man who shares the same name as me, Blake Brayley. He should have scored that try, but Atkinson...
He did have a good game, Blake Brayley.
Atkinson, being the worst ref in the NRL, of course, stole the try away from him.
Oh, that's true. Kevin Rapati backs you up here, Blake, saying Brayley played his best game in his 151 game career is he the key to unlocking our game to make the next step of beating the top 4 teams? I actually wrote, Kevin, in my notes tonight that Blake Brayley running early is typically a good sign, but he can typically do that against the weaker teams. And so the Dragons were just a bit easier to do that against, I thought. All right, Blake, well, thanks for coming in, legend. You should come into the dial-ins more often. We haven't had you in for a little while. It's always good
I
to
know
see
it has been a while. And speaking of the first try and the second half principle, I have looked at the Storm game, and no, the Storm scored 2 tries before we scored our try in the second half.
There you go. Oh,
Yeah.
It's not like a Williams to go look up something whilst they're mid-pod, just so they could prove a point and then interject and then say, "Oh, it's this." That would never happen.
We've always got to be proven right in the Williams household.
Oh,
Better
fair
not
enough.
happen at Tuesday night's trivia session.
All right. Well, are you going to go when we're in the trivia challenge versus your brother, Blake? Are you going to be on his team, or are you you're going to be with all of us against him? Head to
As
head.
much as it is, got to stick with family. Nah, stuff him. Going with everyone else.
Everyone else. It is the audience. It is the audience and the panel versus one guy. It's incredible.
Nothing better getting one up against my brother. So
Right,
he deserves it.
Fair enough. All right, legend. Good to see you, mate. We'll see you at the next home game, definitely, if not before
100%.
then.
Yeah.
All right.
Go
See you, buddy.
Sharks. See ya.
Go Sharks. All right. There we go. I'm just going to do that. And whoops. I'm going to move you. I'm going to move you over here, Franko. There you are.
Oh,
there we are. Now you're in the middle of the page. That's just the layout that we're going with. It's too hard otherwise. All right, let's hit through some more of these comments. It is always good to see the comments. Delmo, let's talk about this. Kafusi gave away that stupid penalty, which we couldn't defend, led to a try. Lats, do you remember that incident?
I do not, mate. I don't recall. Kafusi.
Franko, do you remember that one?
I also do not recall that incident. I'm sorry, Adelmo.
Yeah, I don't remember that one.
It would have only been one of 3 tries.
There were a fair few stupid penalties in that match and a fair few stupid errors, so we weren't very disciplined. But it wouldn't surprise me that a try was off the back of ill discipline where we can't defend our errors or can't defend a penalty. So unsurprising, mate. I'll have to go back and
I'll have to go back
that.
and check those. It's an instant reaction, not a Franko file, because we were all at the match. The problem with being at the match is you sometimes miss stuff, don't you, Franko?
It's certainly a different viewing angle, that's for sure.
Is that because we're 4 rows behind and we can't see the whole thing, or
well,
is it just
I mean, it's
perspective.
The difference is, okay, and this is, I'm sure preaching to the choir here, but watching through the television, we've basically been trained as rugby league audiences to be close in on the ball and on the ruck. When you're live at the game, you get to see a lot more off the ball action.
Players on the bench, the injuries,
running angles,
people running routes. Yeah,
you get to see all that other stuff. So you focus on things other than the ruck a little bit more, and you do then miss certain things. I don't know if it's been discussed. I have no idea what Nico was put on report for there. I imagine it was a high tackle or something.
It was a late hit on someone.
Late hit, okay.
Or was that Trindle? I know someone was put on for a late hit.
Nico was it was a delayed call, so he was put on report for something that happened earlier, and I have no idea what that was.
SJD in the comments is asking us which try was better, the William Kennedy in Perth against Manly or that Katoa try tonight. I think at the game, I didn't have that big a reaction to the Katoa one. I'm voting for Will Kennedy in Perth. Franko?
No, I'm going with Katoa's try. Kennedy's was pretty spectacular, but Katoa on the ground, boot to the chest, gathering the ball, not dropping it, not fumbling it up, goose stepping around a player. Yeah, it was pretty special. I'm going to go with that one.
Lats?
Yeah, mate. I'm with Franko on this one. Katoa, just the work he had to do, and then also just to put the little goosey on DeBellin and get around him and head next to the post as well.
Well, that's
I
true.
love it when
Will the
someone
Youngest
gets one over
saying,
DeBellin.
that's true. Willie Young is saying first kick was horrid. We need to play. That's how we need to play in the second half. Let's talk to this one. TH. I hear a few punters and dribblers mention how Hines has the tendency to go missing. Never really read into it, but the last couple of weeks I can see how one could lean towards that narrative. I'd like to give us a response on that.
Mate, I was fuming with Nico at halftime. I just thought very, very lackluster. I thought he went missing. This last couple of weeks, he's worried me. We know he's got a good half game in him, but mate, we need that consistency from kickoff to the final siren. It's we're not getting it week in, week out. He does do a lot of stuff, I guess, that doesn't get noticed, and when they're playing unnoticed, they're not playing bad. If we're not noticing them, they're just going about their work, but he's not really taking control of the team like I'd like him to. I thought Trindle stood up tonight and took more control of the team, and if that's the way it has to be, and it changes from week to week, I'm okay with it. But as long as someone's on at a certain time and on their game and taking control.
Franko, has the Nico narrative changed in the last couple of weeks, or is it just the same thing?
Well, we've been out muscled a fair bit the last few weeks. And as everyone knows, you need your props to lay a platform for the halves to have at it. So yes, he's probably gone missing a little bit, but it's not entirely his fault. That said, I don't think I'm out of turn if I say Nico's a bit of a confidence player. So when a few things go wrong, we sort of see the impact of that. We've said it a few times, he's better than a lot of halves out there, but for the way we play and how much we want from him, it's easy to see why he cops a lot of criticism and flack, because we're paying him the big dollars. He's the poster boy of the club. All eyes are on him. So you sort of build in that awareness of everything he does, because you're watching him pretty much most of that game and nitpicking on anything that goes wrong. Now, that's not an excuse. It's not to try and say that we should give him a bit more leeway, but ultimately, I don't think he's playing poorly. He's just not living up to the expectations that we want.
I think that's right. Look at this comment here, Franko. SJD just flips more than I do about Daniel Atkinson and Will Kennedy. This is SJD in the comments. This is why Steve Potato and Gravy Franko gets my 6 points every week. SJD, normally you've been on my team recently. Why are you jumping back to Team Franko?
Because I haven't been on recently, so
turn that up. Rob agreed with Franko as well. Oh, Franko's getting a lot of love tonight. Agree with Franko. It's a game. Anything can happen. Different players can be playing at different levels. That was in response to Franko's comment about playing what's in front of you. And then Rob also agreeing, surely it's the role of the coaching team to be tactical, strategic with the bench. Are we going to talk about this now, Franko? You want to save it for another time?
Oh, I think we might save that for another time, but it's certainly something
so.
that I feel a few punters have noticed and been talking about, not just this week, but for the last 10 rounds.
All right, let's just go look at this. Some other comments here. Paul saying in the comments, if they haven't signed Will by now, he won't be there next year. I've read a few times that Jai Gray has been approached. I haven't heard Jai Gray's been approached. Have you heard that, Franko?
No, new to me. I have seen, there was just recently an interview with Dino on ABC, I believe it was, where a question about Will was asked. He said both parties want to get the contract done. Both parties want it to happen, but there's no rush. And so watch this space. Whether that is smoke and mirrors is debatable. I agree. I agree with was it Paul saying if it hasn't been done now, it's starting to get a little bit hairy. We know we've got Ison there locked up as an option if we were not able to sign Will for whatever reason. But by all reports, they both parties, Will and the club, want to get it done. So watch this space. If it's a scenario of money, like we said, maybe someone needs to be tapped on the shoulder to make room.
Well, they both want to get it done at the money number that they're prepared to pay. So they're probably still working that out. So who knows? All right. It's a bit of taunting for Rob Valensky here. Rob V, more like Rob, very bad internet. And then Rob coming in to is your internet older than some of those books? And then Kevin saying someone needs to sponsor Rob's internet. Maybe someone could super chat him. Scott Breen, he's pretty tough on him. Honestly thought Kennedy had lost himself a contract in that first half. Well, certainly he was making himself a contract those first few weeks. And Kevin also hammering him there. Delmo's saying that the left centre position is cursed. What have we had? Kaoliro and Maween Hiroti, and who else has played there?
2 from 2 seems pretty bad.
2 from 2 does. That's a bad start. All right, Kevin Rapati in the comments. In all honesty, we should have pumped those grubs. To be down 18-6 at halftime was atrocious. Yes, we won, but that did nothing to prove that we're a contender. Pretender is what we'll be known as. Kevin, I did make the comment at halftime and just say, if we come back and win this match, it's going to put a Band-Aid over a big cut. Lats, give us a response. Are we a contender still, or are we also rant?
Mate, we don't win the comp this year. We're fringe 4 at best. The team just doesn't look cohesive. We don't look like we're out there playing for each other. We're not getting overly excited as a team when we're scoring. We just look a little bit lackluster. And mate, unless there's a huge attitude shift in the next couple of weeks, I can't see us, putting an impression in coming into the finals.
Yeah, I think that's probably right. I thought Cook's tackle on Trindle while he was kicking was fine.
Yep.
Franko, you were close to that one as well. I thought that was fine, yeah?
No problems with that at all. Trindle certainly made it look a little bit more spectacular, but
that was Was that Gutho tackling him?
No, it was.
I think it was Gutho who wrapped it. Was it? I thought it was Gutho who wrapped his arms around him.
No. This is talking earlier on, I think.
Okay.
Where.
Yeah, of course. Yep. Where where he stayed down. Yeah. No, of course. They likened it on Channel 9 commentary to the Jerome Luai on Blaze Talangi one, which saw Luai bin for 10 minutes. Commentary, Andrew Johns thought they made the right call in this instance, and that it should have been that call in the Tigers-Panthers game as well. I was okay with it. I didn't think there was too much in it. It was pretty instantaneous.
Yeah, I don't think it was late. I don't think it was high. It wasn't a shoulder.
No, wasn't on the legs.
Wasn't the legs. Yeah, I'm okay with it. And to apply the usual litmus test of if one of our players did that against an opposition fan, I'd be upset if it was a penalty against us. So, yeah, I'm okay with it.
Yep.
Adelmo, Nickera was lucky that he held onto his kid when running out at the start of the match. His handling has been...
Mate, he was slipping down the kid a bit.
He was slipping down a little bit.
He was halfway down his leg by the time his wife took him back.
Maybe it's lucky he didn't have a banner to run through.
Christopher in the comments is asking us, what was the go with that broken play penalty kickoff from the kickoff? I didn't understand that one. Was that against us or the one against the Dragons where they were inside the 10 and they jumped?
Yeah,
I think that was the 10-meter one. I think that's what we're referring to there.
Yep.
All right, Trish Meddy in the comments saying it's Katoa's try. Definitely. He caught the ball right in front of us. Was certainly impressive. What would you know, Trish? You couldn't even win trivia. Just dawned you, Trish. It's good to see you the other night down at trivia. SJD in the comments has given 3 to Katoa, 2 to Trindle, 1 to Brayley. And Christopher agreeing here in the comments. So glad to have Katoa back after tonight's game. I binged a bit of the Tongan Fisherman on YouTube. That's not bad. I forgot about the Tongan. That's his channel, isn't
He's
it?
got some, yeah.
We'll have to go review. Maybe we should do a watch along of one of the Tongan fisherman episodes.
Go on a fishing trip with him.
Oh, here we go. And then here we go. Will the Younger. Yeah, the Aussies are 74 runs ahead. No, that's good. What's that in a test match, Franko, is it?
The World Test Championship Cup.
I didn't realise cricket was still going, Franko. Is that still a sport, is it?
Oh, mate. It's one of the greatest games. Yeah, so every 2 years you go through a cycle of playing, and you get points for winning test matches against other test nations, and then the top 2 teams go against each other for the mace. So Australia versus South Africa. Bit controversial that South Africa's there after sending a B grade team against New Zealand and then not really playing anyone else of note. But we're here, we're there. We didn't do well in the first innings, but we've got a 74-run lead, it seems, going into the second innings. So well done, Pat Cummins and the bowling team.
Lynn Gannon, you are 100% right here. 5,000 less people at $40 is 20,000, not 20,000. It's 200,000. Yeah, you're 100% right. That's so bad for me to get those zeros wrong.
And that's why you need to go to Solve Accounting.
That's why you need to go to Solve Accounting, Lynn Gannon. Oh, that's right. Lynn, we haven't seen you in the comments for a little while, so it started in delay after I got home from the game. We hope you had a good night at the Sharks match tonight. Here we go. And Trish Meddy in the comments. Katoa 3, Toby 2 for getting Atkinson off the bench. And Britton 1. Jeez,
Toby, narrative, doesn't it?
He's just loving life. And then Trish Meddy confirming that she was second in the trivia.
To Ash, the club historian.
To Ash, the club historian, who was down at trivia, came down. He said it was very good fun. He was pretty much, him and his son were a 2-man team and they won. They're a pretty good team. Because his son, because there's 2 categories of it. There was the 24 and 25 season. And his son was absolutely brilliant. And then obviously on anything that was old, Ash was just pretty hard to beat. So SJD is retracting his 6 points for Franko. And saying if he wanted to listen to commentary, he'd go into a coma. Oh, SJD, you're back with me, baby. Let's go.
He didn't say he gave you the points, though, Boldo.
Yeah.
If anyone's taken points off you, Franko, by default, they're on my team. All right. Let's go through your 3-2-1s, lads.
Look, mate,
tonight?
I felt from the get-go, I was giving my 3 points to Blake Brayley. He was dynamic out of dummy half, and his runs were brilliant. Got us on a real roll on with forwards pushing down the field, and really helped our attack. 2 points I'm going to give to Sione because I just think he's bloody awesome. He didn't do a thing wrong tonight, and his that gather and to score that try to seal the deal for us and put it beyond doubt was awesome. And 1 point, it was a close one between Tricky, but I'm going to give it to the milestone man, Britton Nakora. That try he scored, he had to do a lot of work to score that. He had plenty of blokes hanging off him. He's strong, ran a great line through a lot of defence. And it was not only his 150th game, but that was his 50th first grade try.
Oh, how good.
Yeah. It's not a bad strike rate. 33.
Rob's internet has recovered long enough for him to be able to get a comment in here saying 3 for Katoa, 2 for Brayley, 1 for Tricky. And Adelmo, your legend, saying Braille's 3, AFB 2, Tricky 1. Franko, what's your take?
Yeah, look, I think an honourable mention for Hamlin Ueli. He's been getting a bit of a bad go at it the last couple of rounds, maybe deservedly so, but he certainly turned up tonight. It was a good effort from him. My 1 point tossing up between Fanua Blake and Tricky. Probably going to give it to Tricky. My 2 points go to Brayley. He probably should get the 3 if I'm honest, but I'm going to be a little bit biased to the flashy plays of Katoa to get the 3 there. It was good to see him in full flight and make something out of nothing, which was was something we haven't seen for a while. So good to see. So sorry,
to mention
Brayley, you
with-
probably should have got 3, mate, but you're getting 2.
Mate, not to mention with Sione, I didn't think he'd play this week, how busted he looked at the back end of that game last week against the Warriors. To get through that like he did was awesome. So he's obviously blown off the cobwebs and made his back with a bang.
Yeah, it was good.
All right, well, I'm going to give my 3-2-1s out. I'm going to go 1 point for Blake Brayley. His running game was absolutely terrific. 2 points for Sione Katoa. That try was pretty good in his runs. And I just can't believe you people aren't following this up. Clearly, the 3 points tonight is Toby Rudolph.
Toby Rudolph.
It's Toby Rudolph. It's like clearly Toby Rudolph. It's like clearly the reason why we won is because he was able to play. So
I thought you were going to give 3 points to Atkinson for not playing.
Well, I was tempted to also say 3 points to Atkinson for not playing. That was where I thought that might be a little bit mean. Sometimes as the podcast host, you have to be a little bit responsible. We'll do the Franko poll, which is Franko, how much did you enjoy that match out of 10? Give us that ranking.
Oh, geez, it was a game of 2 halves, that one, wasn't it? Whew.
Wasn't it?
I'm going to say that gets a... Look, we beat the Dragons. That automatically gives it 2 extra points, I think. So I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10. All right, fair enough. Last couple of comments. Blake, I know that's Blake, even though it's Will the younger. Bolton needs a HIA check. That's a bit harsh. And then Adelmo saying, Katoa said in the sheds that he still wasn't 100%. So, yeah, that's probably true. I think he's still a couple of weeks from getting back. All right, I'm going to judge the best comment tonight because I think there is a clear winner.
The one where SJD gives me 6 points?
No, it is not the one where SJD gives you 6 points. I'm going to say the clear winner on...
Is it the one where Kevin says that Franko is right again?
It's not that one either. It's this one. The one that corrects me. Anyone who proves me wrong and says, yep, you got this wrong, especially on numbers, because I do pride myself on some numbers, actually, and that's a bad mistake from me, Lynn. So I'm going to give you the prize this week. You are in the draw to win the displayware. I thought that was a good pickup, Franko. So I like that one. Cool. All right, gang. Anything else? Yes, lads?
No, I'm saying that's a fair point. That's a great comment.
Well, yeah, you certainly don't pride yourself on your spelling, but I guess...
No, I don't pride myself on the spelling.
Jabs. I love Franko's jabs.
Oh, I don't pride myself on the spelling. The problem with my spelling, Franko, is I type so quickly is that I just make mistakes because my hands can't keep up.
Whatever helps you sleep at night, champ. All good.
Mate,
all right,
don't you tell us that you typed that up. This is all ChatGPT most of your work, surely. We saw that in that mock game when Todd Carney came out of nowhere and pushed Paul Preston out of the game in the Hall of Fame.
How good was the mock game?
That was
pretty good. If you haven't seen the mock game, what happens when the 2016 Sharks team take on the team of Sharks champions? Todd Carney wasn't even picked in either team and somehow scores a try just on halftime. It's pretty funny. All right, that was the ET stand as the Cronulla Sharks beat the St. George Illawarra Dargans 30 points to 18 to maintain pressure on the top 4, maintaining 5th position. What are the Sharkies got the Broncos next week? An away match up in Brisbane, isn't it? So we'll be back on Tuesday night with our regular live show at 8:30 p.m. with a bit of carry on and a trivia challenge. And then we'll try and find an opposition fan preview if we can find someone from Brisbane. And then Matty Williams and I wouldn't mind doing classic chronicles of the 1989 match, actually. Would be a good one to do, of the chronicles of the Sharkies versus the Broncos, perhaps. So for me, David Bolderman, I am going to bid you farewell. For Stephen Franklin and Scott Latino, that was the ET stand. Up Cronulla.
Thank you.
For over 50 years, people have come to see the Sharks play. Talent, skill, speed, intelligence, elite-level athleticism. That's not these guys. Biased, one-eyed, opinionated, more often wrong than right. They make up for their complete lack of talent with pure dribble, gibberish, and enthusiasm. This is the ET Stand Podcast.